Hello.
Hey.
So it's the second day, is it?
Yes, second day at PUF,
Yes.
and I'm stressed with the noise in the background. I hope it's not really not loud in the recording, but we will see.
Yeah, I mean, at one point I thought,
I mean,
it's the act of recording, and it doesn't have to be archival.
it can be worse than the sound at New Now. It can be worse than the sound that we know.
Why? Oh, the
Because
stage.
because the sound was coming from
Ooh.
really far away. I mean the sound that we had, the sound was just like, because it can be worse than that.
Yeah, the acoustic in the space was really bad. Like I recorded with the same camera, and I watched it again a bit, but it's constantly like really loud noise. But of course, the streaming we had microphones, so I'm looking forward to watching the recording because it should have nice documentation.
Yeah, in 2 weeks will be available online.
Yeah. Please check that out.
So what up, Naoto? We didn't saw each other from yesterday at some point. Just each one start doing all their own stuff. And
Right.
how has been your time here in PUF so far?
Yeah, I mean, again, when we came back, when I had to leave, I was really stressed out because of the other project and meeting, which actually took whole 2 hours. And but then after that, it was still not dinner, so everything was fine. This morning I was a bit slow. I was reading a bit here, and then I went up a little bit, walking around.
Ah, yeah? Where did you went to walk?
Just going up and see the cross. And then after that, I wasn't sure if this is someone's property or not, so I was like, but also like, at one point there's some fences, but I'm not sure if I'm inside the fence or outside the fence. Like, is it like did I went somewhere wrong, that I went inside someone's property already, or if I'm just looking at someone's property? But I think it's not so clear. Like, also maybe it's more for the animal. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, but you didn't cross nobody's land.
No.
I know where you went. If you keep on walking in that direction, there is something that is called I don't remember exactly the name, but it's a settlement, a Celtic settlement.
Okay.
Yeah, because in this area is the highest point that you have around the area, and the Celtics used to stay there. From there they could see when other people were coming from all over the place.
I see.
This area is called Vibrax. Vibrax, yeah. And there's a nice recording that Rafael Panoli, a friend of mine, he recorded an album called Vibrax. Very nice.
So should we just pretend that we don't hear anything and we continue? I guess.
I guess this is what we're doing here.
Let's see. So we have to work on some papers, but besides that, what are we gonna do? Or
I mean, I started already moving the equipment that we brought into the big space.
I still have your Kinect.
Ah, yeah, you have one Kinect. Yeah, the rest is there. So just in our own time, just we go there at some point.
In that big space.
Big space, I think.
First of all, yeah.
I think it's perfect because there is this board. I was thinking that we should do a practice today, actually.
Okay.
We should do a practice of like 2 hours, and then there's the space. And it's nice because there is this board where we can hang the green key.
Ah, yeah, true.
We could do like as we did in Note.
Yeah.
As a homage. 1 year in Note set up.
And I forgot the green key.
Ah, yeah, but I think it's long enough to be
Yeah.
almost on both sides, length.
No, because during Node, I brought it, but I forgot to hang it because we were so stressed.
But you were using this. There was a white background with the
Yeah,
spikes.
like this.
They were very
for
nice
the
texture.
sound. Yeah,
They were giving nice texture there.
that's funny.
Also, we have to cook lunch. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you're up to that. Also, I can show you what I brought. Yeah, we can do that behind the scenes.
Behind the scene. What else?
Did you have a nice conversation yesterday with people in the dinner?
Yeah, actually, that's something
Yes.
what I wanted to talk about, maybe, or at least share, is that wait, I need to look at my note. I don't want to make it wrong. But I was talking with Hani. He's
I don't know.
he's writer.
From Holland?
No, he's based in New York with Petra.
Ah, okay. So it's the guy with the long hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's Egyptian, but he's based in New York, and he's like basically visiting here for like a week or so.
And it's his first time also.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I briefly met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I explained what the practice is, and also I talked about the thing from yesterday morning that we talked about queer development,
Yes.
because he was saying like he has no idea about coding. He uses computer for sure to to write, but that's the only thing he does with computer. Then I started to explain why coding is so hard, like hard in a way that it's not like difficult to learn, but it doesn't basically allow failure. It's really rigid. It has to be productive, and it has to be done in a very specific way. So you can easily get discouraged if you cannot get something. Then it's very, very hard to follow. That's why like we talk about queer development that allows different things to happen. I guess give agency to the coding practice.
Right.
Then what he said is, okay, so you can fail with coding, but then what he said was like, for example, what happens if that code is running the airplane? Then it crashes and everyone's gonna die.
Yeah, I think that's a different.
No, but I think it's really interesting because also what he said is so that's what happens. Let's say if you're a bad programmer.
Okay.
But then if you're a bad performer, it's not going to kill anyone. I mean, if you perform something really bad, people won't appreciate it. I don't know what is good or bad, but let's say people didn't appreciate it, but still, no one gets hurt, or mentally something can happen, but they're not physically injured.
Right.
I think that's a really interesting analogy because what we do is, let's say, performance. So we make a sandbox that we always talk about. So we can fail with the programming, but it's not going to hurt anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows also for the workshop idea that because we make a sandbox, it's a, let's say, a performance, so we can fail while using code or technology, and still it's safe.
Mm-hmm.
That's my takeaway from the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't feel qualified to program an airplane yet. I have to say.
Queer airlines.
I'm not there yet. That's what I found like so. I felt so pressured when I get this. When Daniel expressed the invitation, like to do this PhD in Linz, because it basically was like to work with robots. So it was embodied machine, I think, is the framework. And then I just thought like, oh my god, before I start working, I just thought like, because I guess they offered the robotic laboratory lab, and of course with people who have good technical skills for that.
Computer science, engineering.
Exactly. Nevertheless, it means that I have to work with that, and I was already before starting like to get stressed, and then I checked this course in the MIT or Robotics Essentials, but actually it was called Full Stack Robotics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like besides all this academic stuff, I don't know, you can fail or not with the robots.
I mean, I think like it will be a part of the research, no? So I guess will be constantly. That would be interesting. I mean, I guess that's part of the research because it's called embodied machine, no? So it's like then how, through my experience in my doing with technology, then I can translate that into specifically robotics, the embodiment part that I have developed.
Yeah. What? I was just thinking because I think, let's say like it's industrial robots, and you can code, but I think there are two layers. One is that something you can experiment and you can fail in a way with, I don't know, its movements or something, but there's another layer that has to prevent something completely wrong to happen, like let's say crash into someone or
Yeah.
this, or explode. This has to be prevented. But that's the idea of sandbox, right?
Yeah. I was thinking that when you were saying.
Yeah, because you have to have, like in the sandbox, in like computer science, like software, you don't have access to everything. Like you cannot hijack the whole computer to do something wrong. So that's why like you make a sandbox and you can run like a computer virus, for example, to test what's going to happen inside. But that's not going to contaminate outside, because it's inside the sandbox. So but then you have to design the sandbox when you work with the robots, so that you're safe inside the sandbox. You're not going to harm anyone, but then you still have enough control so that you don't feel like, okay, the only thing you can do is to move the arm like this way to this way. Like that's, well, maybe you can do something interesting with it, but I think what you want with the sandbox is that you still have a freedom to move it around, but then it doesn't exceed certain speed, for example, so that it won't, bump into something.
Yeah, that's why like when I was like thinking about this project, like that I have to say that I haven't read the official application of the project within the Johannes Kepler University, which is like just a long academic thing that Daniela sent me. Then I was thinking that, because I was just trying to put it in the context of best practices and the technology, how I'm used to work, and then I was thinking that I right away I didn't feel myself or like imagining a body next to the robot, because exactly what you're saying. So, and in that sense, if the robot is somehow there, trying to be embodied somehow, then it means nevertheless then it should be in full control somehow. The robot will be within constraints of the sandbox. And I cannot imagine like being myself next to a robot. I guess ideally at some point I would like to put myself next to the robot and then dance or do something, let's say do a practice with the robot. But then until I get to that point, it seems quite far away from my own vulnerability as human. Yeah, then you really need to go like in a scientific research, like like to test, like to do many tests until you have something that is like you think is safe, and then you give to other pairs, or you really test it until you can have a beta version, and then try it slowly to put some teddy bear maybe first, or some mannequin first next to it, and see if the mannequin is not being killed.
You know what reminds me is the safety testing for the cars.
You were talking like yeah.
Basically, they put like mannequins and crash the car into a wall and see if they're not injured. Actually, like recently, I went to like a museum, the Mercedes-Benz museum, and they showed like a bit of history, like because the whole thing is about their cars, but also they showed a bit of research, and they started like with mannequin, like real, like how to say real mannequin, like mannequin made for more like fashion design and stuff like that.
Right.
And then because they are aware that the safety becomes like really crucial thing for the development, so they started with mannequin, and then they started to say that okay, like we have to build our own mannequin to be tested for this specific purpose. I think that's interesting. I mean, I don't remember much, but
that's interesting. Yeah, like because then basically this mannequin is like an instance of a human, if you want to see it somehow. That's interesting to try to develop some dummy body that is an instance of a human.
To test that the practice is safe enough. I was just imagining, like, what if this practice we do is actually not safe? Like, it's safe what we do. Like, not safe, also like toxic. It's not safe, toxic kind of sense, but like literally, like something that you can get injured with something mechanical or something.
Yeah.
So that we have this lab for best practices institution, and there's like one department testing the safety of practice with this mannequin, and then the head is chopped off, and oh sorry, like this practice is not safe.
No,
it's not for deployment.
Oh my god. And it would be funny then just you have like really a pipeline, and then you are ready to go there. No, you cannot because we test and the mannequin lost his head today.
Exactly.
It's not good.
Then I or like you or I, like we're the executives, and then we're so pissed off, like this was we have to do this for a performance like next week, what can we do? Like that was part of the scene.
Oh, imagine that while we're doing the practice, somebody started like running or doing this from behind camera, like you have to stop, it's not safe, and we are like, what? I'm busy. No, get away.
And one of us get killed, and then the government has to really work on this, like, okay, you have to need a license for the practice, and you have to get like tested. The space is safe enough
you
to
need
do
the
practice.
You need to go to the stage, like, show me your license. Best practice license. It would be so funny. Higher Institute of Best Practices in Contemporary Dance.
Of course, you have to learn the theory and the practice to get license. Yes.
But that's all this is very interesting. Like Daniela, for instance, then she has her research is very much about, like, she was telling me, like she works a lot with embodied in different ways, no, and caring. She's a good caretaker. She takes care of people. She was mentioning that she's running a project now. There is, I think it has 5 pillars, and one is it's around the idea of labor, but then you touch feminism, racism, different pillars. But it's very I guess she's very advanced in this in these topics, because she has been researching on this like for. I know concretely that she started with a project that now is called Ocean, but it started as a proposal where in the big studio people, or in the chapel, you go and bring your mattress and some blankets, and then basically just you lay down and she takes care of you. Like she puts some sound and maybe some essence, smells and stuff like that. And it's a durational performance, so it will go for 5 hours or more. So that was like, I think that was maybe like 3 years ago when she started with that, and now she's in Ocean. With now is I guess now she's trying to push different things around that, and then she started working with the idea of labor and invisible labor. Labor is a constant in PAF, because there's a lot of invisible labor. So then yesterday we were joking, because so we were saying that PAF, we said that we are doing a PhD in housekeeping, or house,
housekeeping.
Somehow, because it's a constant thing every time. How enabled bodies, how to like, what is the what does it mean, this idea of like police agent? What does it mean, like different agents in the space? What are the roles? The newcomer, the long stayer, like all of them. And it's very interesting.
I know that's a joke, but this PhD thing,
I don't know.
I'm starting to think like I could do PhD if I can frame what I want to do. I think there are 2 kinds of PhDs. That one is like really like someone, they are looking for a specific person to, like for a specific position to work on the robots from this queer perspective, for example. But another thing is like, you just apply with a proposal. I mean, always you apply with your proposal, I guess, but like you can, frame it so that like where I was working, Concordia University in Montreal, they have this program that also for masters actually, that you can, they basically promote interdisciplinary research, so you can just do anything you want, but you have to find your supervisors and frame your research. Whatever course you take, you have to do it by yourself. You do work with dance, you work with media, economics, whatever, but you have to define it by yourself. And I think that I think if I do PhD, I would do something like that. At the same time, I feel still like reluctant because I have to work on something. It's okay to work on something that I want to do, but of course there's bureaucracy needed, and it's not just filling papers, but you really have to work on the papers.
Of course, there's a constant of this. No? You need to review constantly your writing. yeah, it's like Corinne, the English girl with the long hair. She's part of the symmetry group, and then we were so with Daniel and Corinne yesterday, and then she was so we were joking with this, like we are doing a PhD here in PAF on the housekeeping, and then she was saying, so we were talking about our works, what we were doing, Daniela, myself, and then she was saying that she cannot see herself like that for her, like being working in 3 projects at the same time, like artistic project is like she cannot see herself doing something like that. And then we were saying that like seeing herself like or seeing myself in doing the PhD, it just seems so much commitment into one specific thing. So it was more like, I guess, this acknowledgement of, wow, what this that you're doing is so good. It's good that you're doing it. I'm not gonna do it, but it's so good that you're doing it. And then she was saying also that in a way, or in the PhD, then you will have in a way space to do kind of like micro projects, because it's so in depth the project and you need so much different angles to what you're doing that you can have different frameworks within your main topic.
I see. Yeah. Like in engineering, well, probably depends on the school, but I think for writing a thesis, you have like 2 options. One is to really write the thesis, and the other option is to compile the papers you publish. Because so it's like those papers are like projects in a way. So you work on like a bigger scope, but of course you have to have kind of milestones, tangible results that you publish as a paper, because that's also your job to, be part of the academic community. I don't believe in it. That only happens with papers, but that's how it works in academia. You publish papers, and that already is like, I wouldn't say micro, it's like a chapter of the thesis project. So that's when you publish it, you already have those results. You already have the part of the thesis, and then you compile it. Of course, you have to add introductions and conclusions and stuff, but the meat or bone, I don't know which it is. Maybe the bone. No, meat. The flesh is the research papers that you publish, articles. And I related to that.
I think we took the stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, this process for
It's just like, yesterday I noticed stitching videos is so hard. Not hard, but I cannot do it with one script. So, maybe we finish it here. And we'll see next time.